And welcome to our show, Geeks Are Wired Podcast, where we talk about video games, movies, TV, comic books, technology, and the internet of all of the things. I'm your host, Bill, and we have the other host, Anthony.
Sure do.
Yay. You also can ask us questions and get a hold of us at geeksarewired@gmail.com or send us a voicemail or a text message at 801-896-GEEK. That's also 801-896-4335. You also can help support us by going to our Patreon page where you get the podcast early, and that's patreon.com/geeksarewired. And now on to the news.
Yes. Apple, as we mentioned last week and probably weeks before that, they have their new M1 chips out. And people have been wanting to try to get Windows running on them because what else are they going to do with their expensive machines? And turns out, I think they modified the QEMU based emulator, a QEMU based emulator. It may be the QEMU based emulator. They modified it so it could run Windows 10 based or ARM based Windows 10, just to see how it would do, and it virtualizes better than it runs on a Surface Pro X.
Nice.
Like by quite a bit too. This article doesn't have it. Do a Google. Oh, never mind. It's right there. No, it's down. Keep
Down.
Where's
the pictures?
Yes, it's in this. It's in the pictures. Because we all communicate with pictures.
Yeah.
So, the top number is the M1, the 1515. So, on Geekbench, it got a single core score of 1515 and a multi-core score of 4998. This is the virtualized Windows. And on the Surface Pro X, single core got 793, multi-core got 3113.
So it's the score. So that's how good it did based on a bunch of tests.
Yeah, tests that Geekbench runs and it comes up with a number to help you figure out how good your stuff is or how bad it is. And it's hilarious to me that Apple's chip does it better than what Microsoft puts in theirs. And this is the first iteration.
Interesting. So Apple's doing well.
It's just, it was hilarious to me when I heard about that. And there's also Crossweaver. They have an app called Crossover, which is basically Wine for Mac, but it's a commercial version, so it's has more tweaks done to it, so it's more likely to work.
Nice.
And people have used that to run a few games that allow it. And it's kind of cool. That's all I had to say about it, really.
So, on that note, if you don't want to buy your Mac, but you want to make design for the Mac, or you just want to have a Mac experience on your device, you can always rent from Amazon.
Yeah, I heard about this. I haven't actually looked into it. I think I just read about it this morning, actually.
Yeah, it's actually it's fairly
December 1st.
So newish. Yesterday. Fairly new. I'm not saying brand spanking new, but it's fairly newish. And you can. So you're able to create OS or Mac OS instances to run software or to make software on, because to make software on a Mac, you need a Mac.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way around it except for this now.
The only other way around it was to make a web app.
Yeah.
Which is kind of not the same, but...
And you might run into issues. So this one is... You get to make an instance with the M1 chip.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Does Apple's EULA support this?
I'd
imagine it must.
They're all in for it. So this is how Apple can keep growing, because it is,
Are they just a bunch of server racked M1s or Mac Minis, I mean?
They didn't really go into the hardware behind it. They go into what in their server farms. And that might be why. So you can,
Well, that would be about the only thing they could do, because I don't think it'd be worth paying the overhead for a laptop, because they're not going to use the screen.
true.
Or the keyboard, or the touchpad, or the sound, or the webcam. So I think the Mac Mini would be the only one.
Which is also good for if you're in a state where you're not wanting to upgrade your device, you're able to test it on
Yeah,
the newer
this
things.
would allow you... I think you could do this on the Intel one still, but you could build what amounts to a universal binary,
Yeah.
which is the same thing they did for PowerPC, the transition from PowerPC to Intel. But from my understanding, this transition's going way better.
Yeah.
Because Rosetta 2, which is the second iteration of Rosetta, weird how how that works. It's not weird. Rosetta 1 was for PowerPC to Intel, so that's why it's 2. And it does, I think it performs about 70 to 80% as it would normally, like performance-wise. So you get 70 to 80% of the performance in most cases. This is for apps that haven't been optimized.
Yeah.
But if they've been optimized, then they'll run at 100%.
They could.
Could run at 100%.
So
Yeah.
we are also, this article does talk about, you were saying, like, this is Apple partnership with AWS.
Oh.
And that's where it also brings up then, could the M1 processor be used as a server chip?
Well,
This does move it that direction.
I think AWS was already moving towards ARM
Yeah.
in some cases because of the power savings. Because ARM's getting to the point where you can get a lot of bang for your, like, per power,
Yeah.
per wattage. And not only does it make electricity bills cheaper, it also makes their cooling options way better.
You don't have to drop off things in the bottom of the ocean to cool them.
Yeah. That was an experiment.
No, that's what Microsoft does.
I thought they only did that to one thing.
They
As a test.
Well, they've done it as a test, but they've also done it with multiple other things.
I thought they were just doing that as a test. But yeah, you don't have to do that. Or you can do that, but you can have your stuff packed in closer. Which is probably inevitably what server farm's going to do anyways.
Yeah.
Because they have the space for it. And they already have the infrastructure to cool it down. It won't be like that to begin with, though, I don't think. So, with this being an Apple partnership, they either have just shipped them a bunch of, like, Mac Mini, like, circuit boards and, like, little tiny, like, because you can buy, so, Raspberry Pis, right?
Yeah.
You can get what's called a compute module, which is basically, it's a Raspberry Pi on a circuit board, kind of.
Okay.
And you can, like, slot them in like a PCI card would be slotted in. So I wonder if it's like something like that, where they are just hot swappable and you can replace them on the fly. It may not be that streamlined, and it may just be that they're just shipping them Mac Minis without, like, speakers and whatnot, because they don't need the speakers, but it might be more cool than that. I'd really like to see what it actually looks like.
Yes, this would be cool too.
But they don't go into it, huh?
No.
Lame.
I know.
That's okay.
But
That's
it's still interesting that if you're wanting to develop, because that, when you're developing on Apple, you only have to develop for a smaller range of hardware differences compared to Windows and Android, where you have such a large range to cover.
You just mean Apple, period. I was like, it's been like that for a while with Apple.
Yeah,
this
no, that's
isn't
just
new.
Yeah, no, this isn't. But that's what makes Apple wants this to happen, because people, and that's why people release so many apps on Apple first, because you don't have to build in so many contingencies.
Yeah, and the issues that you might run across, at least for the App Store, as long as you're using, like, if you're using Apple's Xcode, as long as you design it correctly, it will take into account, do you have a notch or not, and do they have a home button, and yeah, just stuff like, so you can design it correctly.
Yeah.
And then you don't have a problem with it, but yeah. So, you have anything else to say on this? Because I have another article if you don't.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's getting close to that time of where ugly sweaters are going to start coming out if they haven't already.
They've already come out. I've already got 3.
Oh, you've already bought 3?
Yeah.
Oh, well, here's another one maybe.
Is it what's it? Mogu?
No.
Aw,
I don't even know
Mogu's
what
awesome.
Mogu is.
Mogu.
There you go. Sent it into Discords.
It's baby Mogu, baby Mogu. Baby Mogu, baby Mogu.
Anyways.
The TikTokers know. You would if you actually used it more than once.
I open it once a week. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it's more than I open Facebook anymore. I actually hopped on Facebook the other day just to check out my notifications. And I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
It was boring. And I may even block the websites. Though I probably won't because I still like to use Messenger.
It was like, hey, you might have friends. These people might know you. Hey.
Okay. Small rant. What absolutely irks me is, so they send you email notifications, right?
Yeah.
And when you're in like that list view where it'll list a little bit about the notification, like in the. Anyways, it says it'll tell me a little bit about the notification in the little like description or whatever, but when you click into the email, nothing's there.
Oh yeah.
It's just like this person posted something. Click here to look at it. It's like the information's here. Why can't I see it?
Yeah.
I know why, because that was the text version and then the HTML version's different. So anyways, small rant, hate that. Back to other happier stuff.
Ugly sweaters.
Yes, ugly sweaters.
Amazing ugly sweaters.
Microsoft is selling an ugly MS Paint sweater and part of the proceeds benefit girls who code.
That's awesome.
And it's kind of nice, and I actually might get one because I didn't know this was a thing until about 10 minutes ago.
Wishing you warm and cozy holiday season.
I just love it because it has the old style Windows logo on it. They got even more.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
They have the Windows 95, Windows XP.
Oh man.
You can accessorize your ugly sweater, so they will make it. You can design it in MS Paint. Is that it?
I'm way overexcited than I thought.
If you're a Skype user, access the background in app without the download required. Oh, it's just an add-on into... It's an ugly sweater add-on for Skype.
Oh, I see.
And Teams.
Oh, and Teams?
Yep, these MS Paint backgrounds for
just
Teams
backgrounds.
and Skype. If you're a Skype user, you can access the background in-app without downloading it. That's why. So if you want it in Teams, you have to do it.
Click on Shop now on the Windows 95 one.
No, I'm going to do this one because
Okay,
I think I'm going to actually
fine.
get it. Nope, I'm not going to actually get it.
Ooh. And it looks like they're all sold out anyways.
Yeah, that's why I'm not actually going to get it.
Okay, go back.
I'm
Let's
sad.
click on the 95 one. Well, shoot.
Sold out. Well, I wanted to help.
What about the XP?
I'm going to try it. They had less of them, but they were $70. Or, yeah,
They also only had small and medium.
yes. There was less of them, and they're sold out.
Well, never mind.
Well, this would have been cool. I guess they all were
It's still
$70.
cool. Like, I think you can subscribe. Yeah, you can subscribe to let them know when it's available. But it's still cool. I will probably... Yeah, let me know when you get an email, Bill.
Yep.
Because I want to know.
I'm going to be on their mailing list, so I'll know about this stuff later. Microsoft actually puts out some really interesting clothing.
Oh, I didn't know about the clothing.
Yeah, like this is...
I did get...
And also, if you ever go to any of their events, you get some really
I've got
cool
some cool
swag.
swag from that. I got some... I never used it, but the drawstring bags.
Yeah.
I say nice, but it was actually kind of the cheap style ones. But it was cool. It was like Windows 8 themed, which, as much as I didn't like the interface or what they did with it, the color scheme was cool. Because it was like a light green and turquoise or whatever. Like the Windows XP color for this.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. Like it had that style of green and that style of blue. By that I mean the sweater that we're looking at, not the Windows XP logo, because they're different colors.
If you click on the show notes, actually, I'm just gonna put this one in.
Yeah,
You go
do it.
It'll go to take you to gear.xbox. But
Yeah, this is cooler than I thought it'd be.
yeah,
This is just something Google decided to show me just a second ago.
oh, that's always fun.
The rest of the stuff's not so great.
I would say Google would show it to me, but I decided to start using Edge.
No, well, I'm not using Google Chrome. This is the Google app.
Oh,
I use it
like the news.
Yeah, I mostly use it to, if I'm doing a quick search, I'll do it that way with the app instead of opening up a browser. And then otherwise, if I have like a couple of minutes, I'll just open this up, scroll through the feed. Because it's, I'll just scroll through the feed because it's usually somewhat relevant. But if I Google stuff too much, it starts popping up stuff like that. Like, it was showing me a lot of like sword art cosplays for a while. And it wasn't like the weird, good kind of cosplay. It was like very clickbaity, and I hated it. So I never clicked on them because the titles were clickbaity. But so we're looking at
the hoodies and sweaters.
Gear.
I was seeing if they had any cool sweaters. They do have a pre-order for Dash VW crew neck sweater. It's kind of cool.
That's got a Halo Infinite one.
Yep.
What other Halo stuff they got? There's a stuff on the side that you can filter it on.
I think
I kind of like the Gears of War one.
There's only like 6 sweaters. There's no other additional
That's
pages.
a lot of color.
Yeah.
It's sold out though.
Is it?
Yeah, it says sold out right there.
Oh, it is.
That's cool though. What else I got?
That's what I was looking at.
Shop by they got coffee mugs.
They do. I don't know. You never think of Microsoft when you think of like buying regular things.
Yeah, you don't really. I kind of like the marble sphere. It's kind of cool. Otherwise, it's kind of meh.
Oh man, it is for a lot of their products. So
can you scroll down a bit?
that's it.
No, I know. Okay. I was wondering, because on the sweater one, they had a disclaimer about such and such money is going towards this one fundraiser or whatever.
Yeah.
I was wondering if there was something similar with this, but there's not.
It doesn't look like it. Well, unless it's down in this one. And it doesn't look like it.
It's also not a fast item. The sweaters had a fast item label on them.
They would get here in time for the holidays.
Yeah.
But this one you have to order by December 9th.
So in a week-ish. No, a week.
You forget recording and release are different.
Okay.
You got less than a week.
Yeah, less than a week. December 9th is a Wednesday.
Yes. So far away.
Oh, you got different sizes too.
Yeah, you can have 15
You can get
ounce.
a big boy one or a normal one.
Yeah, go big.
I didn't know there was that many different kinds of like coffee mug sizes.
Have you ever got a big coffee mug?
I mean, I have, but they're usually like the wide mouth ones. They're the same size though. And then I do have one that is different. It's the same. It holds the same amount of liquid. It's just skinnier and taller, and it like goes up in a cone shape. I have one like that. In fact, it's tall. It's almost too tall to fit into my Keurig.
Yeah, those
It's
are
got like a 1/4 of an inch clearance. That's cute though.
Yeah.
Anything else on my Google list?
Well, there was. We still had the first time impressive. This is actually in the show notes. Reddit revealed its daily active users. First time ever they've actually released this information.
Like, is it consistently 52 million?
For the first time, the count, it was 52 million active users.
Oh, that's just not in a day. That's just active. Or wait. Let's read this.
That was daily. Yes, 52 million daily users.
Oh,
and that has grown 44% year over year.
Facebook has 1.82 billion.
Yes. So the thing is, yes, Reddit is not big, but it's kind of interesting for as much as there is. And I'll admit, Reddit has a steep learning curve to learn how to use it.
It does. I still don't fully know how to use it, but that's okay. I'm a lurker anyway, so.
Yeah, I've created stuff. I've done things. We have a page or a subreddit there. There is stuff. It takes, but once you like hone it down to what you like, I feel like it's really, really good. And yeah, it's not a lot, but it's for advertisers. You know, they for the longest time didn't want to advertise, so a lot of their advertising's been internal. But they've been growing, and they're kind of they can be. There's a lot of hate that can grow from it. There's also a lot of creativity, and their April Fools are usually kind of fun, like the button.
So the hate isn't it's not unique to them. It's any social media platform. It's just because you can make subreddits private.
Yes.
So, related to this, a while ago, I think this is months ago actually, you were telling me that Discord was considered social media.
Yeah.
And I was disagreeing with you for a bit. And I could kind of, I was so-so on it. But I got thinking, would you consider a forum a part of social media?
It's the oldest forum.
So I would agree with that too. And so Discord's basically a forum, as is Reddit. Actually, Reddit really is a forum.
Yeah.
It's a forum of forums. So I think I agree with Discord being a social media.
All right.
So I retract my statement from forever ago. Not that mattered, but
it matters.
Yeah, I think it's social media. Which in that case, I don't know. I don't use the Discord stuff that much anymore, but because I'm a part of a lot of Discord servers, but I never post because I don't really want to. Because there's some people who are active a lot in some servers that I look at, and I just don't want to sink the time.
Oh, I understand. No, I've actually hung out on them before and done things, and there's a lot of investment, it feels like. And when you're active on it, it's great, it's fun. And then I'm just I don't know, whether it's my ADHD kicks in or whatever else, I just and I kind of dwindle off a bit. And that's also why there's also the protection of they don't just let anybody jump on the forums and become an administrator. You got to let people oh, you're going to be active. You're going to be a good investment. The same thing with subreddits. You can have people be admins over subreddits, and you get to rotate through, so you get to maintain hey, the subreddit should be clean and maintained for only these purposes.
Sorry, I got distracted.
Speaking of ADHD.
I vaguely remember you saying that. ADHD. That's it. I got distracted by an article about... I just hit refresh, so I may not be able to find it.
It's gone forever.
Nope, I found it. Amazon Sidewalk. Have you heard of this?
I'm trying to remember what it is. Because I... 3 different things popped in my head on what they were developing.
So what do you think it is? First guess.
So there's the robot delivery service, there's the neighborhood delivery service, and then there's... I want to say a solar farm, but I feel like that one's way off. So,
all those are wrong.
Oh, right.
So Amazon Sidewalk is a service that your Echo devices... I'm posting it to Discord so you can look at it.
Okay. I was
that's why I was being slow
up.
talking. Okay. I'll just read it on here since you already opened it. Basically, it allows the devices to make a network that would allow other devices that were out of normal Wi-Fi range to communicate.
I forgot about this. This is actually something that almost is making me want to turn off all my Amazon devices.
Yeah, so the idea is kind of nifty, but it's also not, because like especially people who have data caps. That's not great. It's like for
okay,
audio devices.
You need to explain it first. I forgot because I kind of interrupted that.
Yeah, you're right. You did interrupt me. So basically, if you have a doorbell or a camera and it's out of normal Wi-Fi range, but you don't want to buy a new router or a repeater to fix it because those are sometimes hard to set up and don't always work. There is this feature where you can, or it's a potential feature. I think they're doing a software rollout to test, but it can theoretically connect to a neighborhood-wide Amazon network.
Yes.
Called Amazon Sidewalk. And it would basically allow you to have internet access for that device without being able to connect to your own network.
Mm-hmm.
And the nifty idea there is that it's cool, it's communal, and that's great, but there's besides, so we'll leave privacy stuff away for a second.
Yeah.
The downsides to this are if you're on if you have a data plan for your internet, you don't necessarily control what is going through it now. You have much less control of it actually. And for like audio-based devices like the dots, not such a big deal because they don't take that much. But once you start adding in like the displays and the video cameras or the doorbells, that starts to add up really quick for as far as like bandwidth goes. So that's the problem with that. But then you also have problems with privacy in that
your network or your information is going over somebody else's internet.
Not only that, but since your device is connected to your personal network, and depending on how they did the networking for their version of it, if it's just bridged over directly, you could theoretically have like anybody on that sidewalk network can now see all your LAN devices potentially.
Yeah.
If they were to have some way of gaining access to the
that's
network directly.
It could be on the extreme. At the minimum, they probably can see all of your Amazon's devices.
I'd imagine this is more of a mesh style network.
Okay, so you see the entire neighborhood's Amazon devices.
No, like you see that they have one potentially. Well, you just see that they have some devices. Because I'm imagining with this,
well, you hope.
They're all, you hope, but it's like, so you have 3 devices, one in a bedroom, one in a living room, and one in the garage, sure.
Yeah.
And they're all broadcasting on this sidewalk network, and they're hopping theoretically onto each other, or maybe this one on the far left has one, and the one on the far right has it, but it doesn't have it in the middle. And that would just appear as the sidewalk network in general.
Mm-hmm.
And the devices themselves wouldn't know any different. But I'd imagine, especially if this is Wi-Fi based, you'd still be able to see the network.
Yeah.
And you might even be able to see all the little... So you're right. It could give people the ability to see multiple devices if they weren't able to like communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Like they weren't able to link up, so they're just broadcasting their own. That could be a thing. But otherwise, about the only way you're going to be able to tell that there's people there is, I think, with, not people, but how many devices are there, I think, would be with Wireshark. And you could kind of do that anyways.
Well, you might be able to do that just by turning on your phone, or just by turning on to connect to the see what's on the network.
No, I mean, you could do that anyways with just, like, any Wi-Fi device.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, like, my phone.
Well, the same phone, because phone's the thing that we all carry. Yeah, a laptop would definitely do more.
Well, no, what I mean by this is they're all, like your phone, your laptop, your iPad, your tablet, they're all broadcasting over Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
If you had Wireshark and you cared enough, you could see that they have all of these devices.
Yeah.
Because, or at least you could see that there's points of, like, you could maybe find the points of origin of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. So you could theoretically see that they have all these devices. It's not unique to this, but I don't know. I'm not super thrilled about it.
Oh, I'm not either. And especially where this is an opt-out. not
Does
an
it say that on here?
Yeah, sidewalk is an
I saw opt something. I couldn't.
out, not
Mhm.
opt-in. And
Yeah, so actually this morning, even before I saw this article or heard about it, I was debating on getting HomePod minis. And I might do that now for my office.
yeah, this is supposed to come out later this year.
Yeah, some people have been getting emails though about it.
Yeah, later this year is not that much year left.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, we're in December now. We have less than 30 days before the year end. Later this year is within 30 days.
Does this include app? Like, if you have it on your app? Sorry.
Oh, like
if you have the
on
app
your phone.
installed, would it include that? I know you turn it off that way, but
It does not go into that detail.
I'd imagine they'd have a hard time doing that. Especially where their Dash device they had a hard time staying connected.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't always on.
I'm not excited about that at all.
Yeah, me either. So it's probably going bye-bye, which is fine because I barely use that. I have a spot. I barely use it.
They were losing anyways.
In your household?
Yeah.
They lost in my household a long time ago, and Google's about to lose too.
You're just like, get rid of them all. I'll just touch
Really,
the buttons.
Honestly, about the only thing I use it for is if I want to turn off a specific device. Like I have a salt lamp.
Yeah.
And I have it because I like the color of it. It makes a nice warm glow. Warm. And it'll sometimes, like, I have a routine thing set up in WebCore to where if I hit the light switch about, I think, a half hour before sunset, if it's a half hour before sunset or, like, if it's between a half hour before sunset and midnight, it'll turn it on if I turn on the lights. Sometimes I don't want that, though, or I turn it on to go grab something out of my room.
Yeah.
And then I turn off the lights, but the salt lamp still stays on, which I want most cases. And so I'll have to tell it to turn off the salt lamp. About the only other thing I use it for is setting timers and setting an alarm. And I have an event on my Harmony Hub to, when I say turn on my Apple TV, it'll also turn on the lights in that room. And that's all I use it for. Everything else, like, I'm just using WebCore or some other automation inside SmartThings to, if I hit a button or turn on a light, it'll turn on the other lights, and it'll also, like in my office, if I turn on my Lutron lights, it'll also turn on my Hue lights, which I have in a floor lamp.
Yeah.
And it'll also turn on my Christmas tree that I have in my office. And if I turn them off, it'll turn all those off. If I press that one button, if I turn off anything else individually, then it's fine. It just stays how it is.
I know what I'm thinking of is more work than what it is just to turn it off. You can always just start putting all your Amazon devices on your guest network and limit your guest network bandwidth.
That's too much work.
I know it is. It's a lot of work. I'm like, maybe just... Probably the easiest thing is to just rip them out of the walls and walk away.
My whole point was that I don't use it for what they want anyways, really. It's more of a gateway.
Yeah.
And I don't ask it questions because it rarely understands. Like, occasionally I'll ask it for what a word means, but more often than not, I just Google it on my phone, or because iPhone, you don't even have to unlock it. You can just swipe over, get to your search, and it'll just give you a definition that way.
Yeah, nice.
If you know how to spell it, or if you don't know how to spell it, you can hit the little voice to text button that's on the keyboard, and it'll spell it out for you.
Nice.
So, yeah, I don't use them for much of anything, and I've been going on and off about whether I even want them anymore for the past, 9 months.
Oh, I can agree, because I didn't get into the Amazon ecosystem because they've done a bunch of hokey stuff that I've not agreed with. I'm not 100% in the Google ecosystem. I don't have enough Apple devices to be even looking at the app. But
What,
Apple,
you don't want to be Homebridge?
I don't have enough Apple devices to justify an Apple.
So, if this, I don't even remember what it was called, but there was like an alliance or whatever for smart devices.
The Zigbee Alliance. Yes.
Okay.
It was called Zigbee Alliance.
All right. If that ever gets off the ground and stuff actually starts supporting it, going all HomeKit wouldn't be a bad idea. Like, you can go all HomeKit now, and you can have something called a HomeBridge, which will sync stuff up, more or less. Like, you can see non-HomeKit stuff inside of HomeKit.
Yeah.
But it can break randomly, and in fact, in the latest episode of Cortex? Yeah, Cortex.
Well, he's not part of the other one anymore. We were just talking about that, but we'll go Cortex.
Yeah. Anyways, in that one, he taught one of the hosts on there mentioned that they set up HomeBridge not in their home, but in their working place, like in their office.
Yeah.
Because if it ever broke, which it's already broken in the office for one thing, because basically all it is you have all your devices connect up to like smart things, right?
Yeah.
And of those devices, only a small subset, or let's just say just a subset, works with HomeKit. You want them all to work with HomeKit, though. So there's a thing you can install on, I think it's SmartThings, or if not, you put it on a Pi or something called HomeBridge. And it basically takes all the hooks from SmartThings, puts them on the HomeBridge. HomeBridge translates them into something that HomeKit will like, which is Apple's stuff. And then you can start working with it that way. If anything before HomeKit or the HomeBridge breaks, like if they update something on it, that integration will now break. Like HomeBridge itself will still work, but that one thing that updated will suddenly break, and you have to spend time to get it working again. And so the reason why he did it in his office was if it breaks, he has other ways of getting around it, and he can put in the time to fix it later if he wants to. Whereas if it breaks at his house, like you'd think he'd have more time, but I fully understand this. He doesn't want to take the time to fix it.
Yeah.
Because it's annoying.
But it needs to be fixed like now.
Yeah. So he doesn't put it at his house for that reason, which I fully agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Though I still want to. I've been trying to get this working for a while. I haven't tried it for months, so it's probably much easier now. But yeah, if that starts going off, I might actually start using HomeBridge or HomeKit for everything. Because I don't know, how much are the hubs? Not hubs. I don't remember what that's called.
The
little tiny speakers that they have now.
I thought they just came out with the next.
They did. It's a mini
one.
I just can't remember the name of the model. You're not gonna find it here.
I'm not gonna find it here. Bridges. How do I look at that? Is that
Maybe.
better?
Nope.
Oh no, that's actual.
HomePod.
Oh.
How much is the HomePod mini?
I'm on the wrong section.
I've never actually looked it up. It might be under iPhone. Try iPhone.
Here, just do this.
Yeah, you can just Google it. I never actually looked up how much they are, even though I've been kind of interested in them.
$100.
That's not terrible, considering the sound's actually supposed to be pretty good, considering how small it is. And most people don't like it because the assistant's dumb, and it is. It's not the smartest, but if all you're doing is just controlling automations or triggering automations from it, works just fine for me because the voice to text actually is great. Like it can understand you really well. It's just it can't answer questions very well. But if you're just telling it to turn stuff on and off, which is all I do anyways, it's great. So I might actually consider doing that in the future if I decide to tear out my
other
dots
assistants.
and the Google's
minis.
You
would replace your minis with the other minis?
Yeah. With the other minis. Or probably won't replace all of them because this is more money, so it's like 3 times. But that's okay. I might consider doing that just because it'll be... it'd still fit my needs for what I use it for.
Yeah.
And it'd sound better.
they have dropped in price a lot.
Well, it's the holidays. So
True.
usually cheaper around here.
They're normally $50 right now, like 19.
No, well, okay, they're normally 50, but around this time of year, they're usually about 30.
Yeah, right now they're 15 of all these places. And when I was shopping, they were always free. Because there's always a deal to get these things for free.
Yeah, I've never been able to find those.
I think I've paid for like 2 speakers.
I've paid for all of mine. But they were all cheaper. Besides my Google Home. Which was the first one I had.
I may have paid normal price for one, but it came with the hub. Not the hub, the Chromecast.
Yeah. Mine didn't. My Google Home, I paid full price for it when I first got it. When it first came out. And I still like it because it has decent sound for how small it is.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones are kind of hollow.
So you have like the full-size Google Home.
The full-size Google Home. And they haven't released another generation of it as far as I know. And I think they only released the second generation for the Mini because they had a feature where, so on the Google Home, the big one, if you tap on it while it's speaking, it'll just stop.
Huh.
Which I use all the time because it decides to follow up with something I don't care anything about.
Yeah. You don't just yell at it, stop. It's like, hey, no.
No, because that one I can just tap on it. The Minis had that ability, but they were flawed in some way to where it was like triggering all the time. And they just flat out disabled it on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it worked on some of them. And I remember that. I remember it working whenever they first came out because we got my brother's those and I was playing with it. And then when I got mine, it was weird that it wasn't working and I never knew why. And I just was starting to think that I just imagined it.
I remember when those articles came out when they shut it off. I was like, oh, that was a thing. What's funny is that the packaging still comes with saying that there's a button there.
Yeah, they never fixed it. And yeah, so, and they always trigger on me. Like they trigger so much for random reasons.
But the second gen also has the hooks on the back. So you can hang these on the wall.
Oh, instead of having to print something or buy something that would do it?
Yeah.
Like I have on mine.
There's no...
That's cool.
Yeah, so I know there's actually ways to like hook them up and hang them. So it's less annoying.
I also don't like that they changed the things to Nest and then they didn't change the trigger word. Because the trigger word is still a mouthful. I hate it.
You know what? Hey, Nest.
Or just Nest. Because people, like, Nest is not too common of a word. I mean, it is, but you're not going to just say it, pause, and then start doing other stuff, or you're not going to start something with it normally.
I will end a sentence with the word nest.
Yeah, which
means there's a pause.
Yes, but I mean, because I think it's triggering before and after, or it might wake up fully when it hears the word, but I think it has like a couple of seconds before that to analyze. Like, it records the first, at least it seems like it would be like this to me, but when it triggers, it has like a backlog of the last couple of seconds to see if it was actually summoned. And then it listens to the next couple of seconds to see if it was summoned. Or not next couple of seconds, but the next like
moment.
Couple of like
nanoseconds.
No, I'd say half a second, maybe a couple of milliseconds. Like by a couple, I mean like 100 or 200, but I don't know if it's really like that, but these do have a physical mute switch. I forget about that.
They all do.
I know. I just forget about it. Actually, the Google Homes is a digital button.
Oh.
It's not. So by digital, I mean it's a momentary switch.
Yeah.
So you can still see, like, whenever it's on, I think the Google Home lights turn to orange. And if you try to talk to it, it'll just immediately respond with the microphone is muted. So it can still tell you're talking to it, but it's not going to take any queries.
Huh.
Which I think somewhat defeats the purpose, but...
True.
Because it's still listening.
So when they got rid of the original ones, I think they kind of replaced it with...
I didn't know they flat out got rid of the originals.
Yeah, I think they replaced them with like the speakers and all that.
The audio package?
Yeah, well, not just the audio package, but there was...
I actually didn't know about the audio package. That's
so
dumb.
like the no, this is the hub.
No, that's the Hub Max.
It's the hub with the camera.
The big display.
Yeah, I just don't care about the camera. And I guess it is just the audio. They used to actually have a little speaker.
What's the Nest Hub? Or is that the small display?
That's the small display without the camera.
It still has an ambient sensor, though.
Yes.
Which actually does really well.
Yes.
Because when it's pitch dark, I don't think it's an OLED display, but it looks like it.
Yeah. And it's just a really, really, you can kind of see.
Like it's designed for being something like on a nightstand.
Well, yeah, but it's also that thing is that it's not, hey, look at me. You walk in the room. Hey, look at me. Pay attention to me. I'm like a child or a lost puppy. Look at me. It's this. Their entirety about it was, it will be there when you want to use it. Besides that, it's just
I don't know,
chilling.
I've noticed on mine that when I go into the room, because it can tell when something is going in front of it.
The light shifts, yeah.
The light shifts, so it'll wake up and it'll start putting on like, here's stuff about your evening or something. Like,
oh, I've noticed that recently.
But it's not. It's just visual. It doesn't do any sounds. Doesn't do anything weird, which is nice because if you want it, it's there. If you don't, you're not gonna know.
And honestly, I've never. Usually, when I see it change, it changes from like a dim thing to, or with the time to like the images.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I've seen it change. I've never actually seen it change into the. This is your evening, because usually when I look at it, I'm like, oh, yeah, there's some information. All right, thanks. And then I just walk away from it.
I mean, I noticed that, and that's it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think I actually noticed that, like, last week. Like, I don't know if it's been around for a while, but... Is the audio package assistant still? Or is it just speakers? Because I've never actually looked at this.
I thought they said it was... Yeah, it's has an assistant.
Huh. Okay. Because I know they got rid of the Chromecast audios, which... They did this, like, last year in February, and I didn't know about that, but I actually liked them. I got 2 of them still.
So, remind me, the Stadias.
Yeah?
They have an Ethernet plug on them.
Yeah, so does mine. I have a Chromecast 4K. It has an Ethernet plug.
Oh.
It's in a weird spot. It's part of the
plug, the power plug?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, it's at the base in the power plug. Yeah, that was kind of like, all right.
Yeah. Mine's not in a spot where I can use it with Ethernet.
Yeah.
And I don't care so much about that one. But it has the options there. I thought it was kind of cool.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I was like, interesting.
And I...
Never going to use it, probably.
No, there's that, but it's just a tangent. So it's related, but only barely. So when I bought it, I got to thinking, like, right as I was buying, I was like, I could buy an Apple TV for this much. And I actually wanted that. Because I think you can get an Apple TV for... I don't know. If it was... Because I paid $70 for the 4K Chromecast. Apple TV might be more than that, but in my opinion, it's better.
Well, it's also it's your ecosystem.
Well, everything. It's not only my ecosystem, it's just like, it's designed so much better. The remote can be kind of finicky because it's a touchpad, but it works pretty well. And I've had the remote, like, it has a rechargeable battery in it. I had to recharge it like twice. And it also has a microphone, and I used to use the microphone quite a bit. And I've had that thing for at least 2 years now. So it's a solid thing, and so I kind of regret not buying one. And I might buy one anyways for it, but...
I totally flew right past didn't say it, give me the price.
Oh.
Straight to the 4K.
Never mind. It's $100 more than I thought it was. $179.
That's if you get a 32 gig. You obviously want the 64 gig for $200.
Why?
More storage.
Store for what?
Processing, whatever software updates they want to do.
No, it's not that. It's because you can install apps and you can actually install games on it. And if you had a local library, you couldn't keep stuff from your iTunes library on there. I don't have that, so it's not a thing. But that's why. Which is why I would never buy a 64 gig.
Okay.
And I'd kind of wish there was a 16 gig, to be honest, but I think I
let's
have the
see.
32.
Well, let's see what the regular Apple TV HD is. $150.
I forgot about that. I thought they just had 4K. I'd still just get the 4K one because it's not much more.
Yeah.
And it's future-proofed.
Actually, yeah, it's $150 for the standard 32 for the Apple HD. And how much was the...
$179 for the 4K 32.
Okay. And yeah, it's really not.
It's not much more. It's nice that the option's there because some people really don't care. And that's the market that one's made for.
Yeah.
And for the TV I have mine on, because it's a full HD, it's not 4K. And in fact, YouTube likes to sometimes stream the 4K anyways.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, is actually nice because the bitrate on 4K is way better. So your stuff will actually look better. Like, because by looking better, that sounds weird because it's just going to downscale, but the codecs for it are different.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so Minecraft, you know, when it rains, it gets kind of weird.
Yeah.
That plays total, I don't know the right word for this. I can't think, but it messes with the algorithm
Yeah.
for the compression really bad, and it looks really like blurry and muddy. On 4K, it's better because there's more bits.
Ah. Nice.
There's more bits to work with, so it looks better. So even if you're downscaling it, it's still going to look better. Which, yeah. So yeah, I might be going more and more into the Apple ecosystem. Because so far, got a phone, watch, Apple TV, iPad, laptop. Gonna have another laptop here soon. Have an iMac, though I want to get rid of it. Yeah. Are you gonna go into the Apple ecosystem more?
I'm barely in any of the ecosystems.
I know. No, I'd say you're in Google pretty good. Not as far as you could be.
I am okay in Google, but I wouldn't say that it's that much.
Sorry, I don't understand.
And then, see, she just doesn't understand.
We didn't even say anything. And it triggered.
Exactly.
Like, we said its name a lot, but we didn't say the hey or the okay before it.
What's up, Jeeves?
I want an assistant called Jeeves. Then I can ask Jeeves.
Yeah.
I think that still exists, actually. I think it's ask.com. Ask. A-S-K. I used to use that search engine a lot. Yeah, it still exists.
AskJeeves.net.
I feel like this is different.
That is. You ask Jeeves a question. And it basically uses Google is what it says. It's a
Okay, no,
custom Google search.
just do ask.com.
Yeah, you mean the second one that showed up?
Yeah. Yeah, see, it still exists. There's no Jeeves. They haven't had Jeeves for like 10 or 12 years, but...
Man, you old. You talking about the internet 10 or 12 years ago?
I know. Back when MySpace was a thing, and it was cool.
You know, back in my day, I did a paper where I got references from the internet. My teacher said redo the paper because you're not allowed to use the internet as a reference.
I thought you were going to talk about message boards. Did you ever use a message board?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't.
I also dialed into some other people's computers and played games.
Oh, I didn't do that. I've used dial-up before, but not like that. Actually,
What's funny is I did that after I was already online on the internet.
I think I had dial-up all the way up until my high school year. No. It was sometime in middle school when we got rid of dial-up, but it was 64K DSL, which is not much better.
No.
So it was... So dial-up was 56K, right?
Yes.
We had 28K for my dial-up, and because we were so far away, it was actually more like 18K.
Well, yeah, so 56 is... Well, I should have... Yeah, besides, that was the high end.
Yeah, and so we had 64K DSL, which ended up being like... My download speed was 8 kilobytes a second. Let's just say that. And that was if it was performing on all cylinders.
I see.
So it was faster, and we could use the phone at the same time, which was a big deal back then.
Yeah.
But not much faster. Because people used to use landlines. People still use landlines, and it's usually just for work.
Yeah.
And even then, it's technically voice over IP, but still a landline. What did you... Oh, that was the Zigbee Alliance. Like, what do you have open?
All of the things. Actually, we're going to close them down because we're going to end the episode.
You didn't want to talk about your other thing? Oh, we did talk about the other thing.
Yeah, we did.
What was the other thing?
Reddit?
Oh, yeah.
52 million daily users?
Yeah, we did do that.
Let's see. What did we talk about? We could wrap it up. We talked about Windows on M1 Macs. We talked about Microsoft selling ugly sweaters. Where did the...
Which is sold out, by the way. In case you
forgot.
forgot.
Did I miss the... I must have deleted... Did I jump around?
I don't know. What are you looking for?
I was looking for the Microsoft... Or no, Windows... Like... Not... It was AWS.
Yeah, the AWS M2, M1 thing.
Was that it?
Nope. Next one over.
Oh, look at that. We'll make sure that gets in the show notes. I want that. All right. So we go back to that. So we probably should pull that up because that goes right about...
It'd be...
Right there before the ugly sweaters. Actually, right there.
Right there, yeah.
Then we have ugly sweaters. More, and then more of that. Reddit having a daily user, for the first time ever, of 52 million users. Talk about Amazon Sidewalk, the Zigbee Alliance a little bit, Homebridge, Apple devices, obviously Google devices.
Yeah, you're not going to put the Google devices in there?
I almost didn't put the Apple devices in there.
Yeah,
I might not put the Apple devices in the show notes.
Nah.
That depends on how I feel when I read it.
No, it was an Apple TV 4K. We don't need it. People know how to Google.
We need all the Ks. Just ask.
And I think keeping Homebridge is cool because it's a program.
Yes.
So, otherwise,
What are your famous last words?
I was going to ask what your words were.
I beat you to it.
My famous last words are, what are your famous last words?
So, now that Halloween is officially over, and you've made your pumpkin pies, do you know how to fix all your pumpkins so they look good for Christmas?
No.
With pumpkin patches.
Ah.